The Brother NV180's capability to sew, quilt, as well as embroider is probably its strongest selling points. Brother Sewing Machines is well known for its high-quality embroidering capabilities. That is why today I'm glad to introduce you to a different method of embroidering using the applique technique. This is different from the usual embroidery design process in which the embroidery is directly sewn onto the fabric. Also, this may sound familiar to you as I have already covered sewing appliques in a video in Sewing Saturday. However, today's video tutorial will cover a different methodology of embroidering appliques. I will quickly demonstrate a step-by-step tutorial on how you can create stunning embroidery designs using the applique method on any of your garments or projects. It's Julius here with you, and join me today together with my top-notch and favorite sewing and embroidery sewing machine, the Brother NV180. Applique embroidery is a well-known design process that most ready-to-wear garment companies use in mass manufacturing, as it saves cost, time, as well as raw materials being used in clothing. It is a method used to fill in parts of a design with embroidery using fabric pieces instead of just using mainly embroidery threads. This one example is made using this technique in which a different piece of fabric is used to create this applique design. In normal embroidery, this would be sewn with embroidery threads. But some companies use this technique to save time and cost. This is often finished using a satin stitch. Now, you might remember that I have mentioned in my previous videos that the satin stitch can be used in decorating the edges of collars or handkerchiefs, as well as hems of garments. And the satin stitch can also help in sewing appliques, which ideally will serve the same purpose, and that is to have a clean, finished edge. You will find applique embroidery in most of your garments, such as your jackets, your sweaters, or even your t-shirts. And this is very helpful, especially when embroidering a large design. So to be able to do the applique embroidery method, we will require a base fabric, which is usually a garment or a pillowcase or any project, an applique fabric for the applique piece, a stabilizer, a fabric glue, an applique scissor, and embroidery threads. Also, this method is used when you want to embroider on a garment, but not directly on the garment, which means a different fabric, usually of different color, can be used as the background of the applique piece or the embroidery design to create contrast. This example, I will be embroidering this iconic design which you're probably familiar with if you have the Brother NV180. This process consists of 3 parts. The first part is creating the applique piece. To begin, start by applying the stabilizer onto the applique fabric. The stabilizer I'm using is an iron-on stabilizer. This adheres to the fabric when heated. Once done, insert the fabric in the embroidery frame and attach the frame into the embroidery carriage frame holder. Select the embroidery design, adjust if desired, and press the End Edit and Embroidery button as you would in normal embroidering. Then start by sewing the cutting line of the applique piece. Once the sewing is finished, remove the fabric from the embroidery frame and carefully cut along the sewn cutting line. It is important to remember to cut along the sewn line and not the inside of the cutting line, as this may not correctly attach to the fabric. The second part is sewing the applique position on the base fabric. If your base fabric is a garment, this is the time to properly mark the position of the embroidery or applique to be attached. This is then inserted on the embroidery frame. Once the base fabric is inserted, begin by sewing the applique position. This is done by sewing only the outline of the applique piece onto the base fabric, similar to the first step. Once sewing is finished, remove the embroidery frame from the machine. At this point, it is important not to remove the fabric from the embroidery frame until all sewing is finished. The last part is fixing the applique piece to the base fabric. Lightly apply fabric glue or a temporary adhesive spray to the back of the applique piece. Then attach the applique piece to the base fabric within the outline of the applique. If the applique cannot be attached using glue, it is necessary to secure the applique using basting stitches. And if you're using a thin fabric, it is highly advisable to use an iron-on adhesive sheet. It's a stabilizer with adhesive on both sides. After the applique piece is attached, attach the embroidery frame to the machine. Thread the machine with the preferred embroidery thread, lower the presser foot, and then press the start and stop button to begin embroidering. Proceed in embroidering the remainder of the pattern. This method is highly useful when creating contrast between the embroidery design and the base fabric. It is also helpful when using threads of the same color as the base fabric. When embroidering applique patterns, it is highly recommended to choose designs that begins with sewing of the outline of the design or designs that are capable of being sewn as an applique. Or when the color embroidering order display shows this on the machine. This means that the design can be used as an applique pattern. Once the embroidering is finished, remove the base fabric from the machine and trim the excess threads. This is done by incorporating an image, a design element, or a shape into an outline such as this. Another way to do this is by combining embroidery designs. And this is how easy it is to create embroidered appliques using the Brother NV180. I know that there's a few added steps, but really, they're simple and easy to follow. So if you have old garments lying around and you want to give them a fresher look, perhaps the applique embroidery method can be of great use to you. I hope that you enjoyed today's simple video tutorial on applique embroidery, and I will see you again next time.